The controversy over an AP African American Studies course is making national headlines. And now we're learning about the revisions to the framework being made for the course that was blocked by Governor DeSantis. NBC 6's Ryan Nelson breaks it all down.
First came the release of the College Board's revised framework for the controversial AP African American Studies course.
I applaud them for taking another look at it. Though I don't agree with their outcomes by taking most of what was in there out as it pertained to our history and issues that pertain to all people in this United States.
Then came a discussion amongst Miami-Dade County's Black Affairs Advisory Board at its monthly meeting. The advisory board resolving to compile all the feedback from its board members into a letter to the governor's office.
Let's be clear about this. The governor hears our opposition. The question that we should be asking is, does he care?
Every culture should have the opportunity to know their history.
The College Board, which oversees the Advanced Placement Pilot course, released its new framework Wednesday morning, the first day of Black History Month. Lessons on queer studies and movements for Black lives were not included in the updated framework, but they were included as possible topics for a 1,500-word mandatory research paper. State Education Commissioner Manny Diaz discussed the controversy with us last week.
And we've gone back to the AP, to the College Board and said, look, if you change these things, they're very valuable parts of this course. And by the way, we already have 5 courses in African American history, so it's clearly taught in the state. It's required in the state.
Experts who crafted the curriculum told NBC News the revisions were already scheduled before criticism from the state of Florida, and they said they're not caving to pressure from the governor's office. The state listed a host of concerns with the class, including Black queer studies, intersectionality, movement for Black lives, Black feminist literary thought, the reparations movement, and Black struggle in the 21st century. Ryan Nelson, NBC 6 News.
Joining me now to weigh in on these curriculum controversies are State Senator Chevron Jones and Dr. Steve Gallen III, who represents District 1 on the Miami-Dade County School Board. Thank you both for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Well, you know, it's interesting. We're in Black History Month. Black History Month. And hold on. I said history, didn't I? Should that be banned too? Yeah, okay. I'm not going to even go there. I want to start off with you, State Senator. I got to ask you. Okay. So it seems that the College Board, which is behind the controversial AP African American Studies curriculum, is bending a bit to the governor's criticism. Well, critical race theory, though, the Black queer experience and Black feminism have been eliminated. The study Black Lives Matter is now optional, and the topic of Black conservatism has been added. So your thoughts on all of this?
Well, I think it's important that people understand that how these AP courses are, how they come about. It's not just haphazard. A group of experts spend time in creating these curriculums. As a former AP chemistry teacher, I remember sitting in the workshops and as a practitioner and bringing those same curriculums to the students, piloting them, and then releasing them to the entire body for those who opted in to take the classes. What the governor is doing right now is far greater than just a Florida AP African American Studies thing. This is the governor trying to make a national statement for what he desires to do in the next few years. Yes, AP African American Studies is the problem now, and it's something that we as a body of people that we are fighting for, and we should be fighting for, but I think we need to pay close attention to what's the national tone that's happening right now, which is more dangerous than anything.
So Dr. Gallen, let's hear from you. What do you think about the changes?
What I think about the changes are consistent with the process. I think, as Senator Jones said, I think we put the cart before the horse with the messaging that came out, and I think some of the language that caused a great degree of rancor in the Black community and the state throughout the nation was this notion that it lacked educational value. What lacked educational value? What we see now was part of the process. Senator Jones mentioned that you not only have experts, this process has been underway for 10 years, piloting in 60 schools around the country with some notable experts that are Black, Hispanic, white. Henry Louis Gates weighed in on this particular curriculum. So to look at what the final product is something that I anticipated would be optional, but it is about having an opportunity for students to debate, to dissect, to have discourse, but not to be subjected to dictates.
Honestly, I thought that's what these courses were all about. It was about learning, about debating,
Exactly.
about having a difference of opinions.
That is the fulcrum of education. That is what academic reflects, to be able to have diverse ideas, to not be in a position to have to conform, but to have an opportunity to learn, think, and critically analyze for oneself. That is a part of democracy.
You know, it's interesting we're talking about this right now because everyone is talking about who could possibly be running for president in 2024. So, Senator, do you believe that this is a plank for the governor on his resume as he may run for president?
Absolutely, for all the wrong reasons and on the backs of marginalized people. Last year was the LGBTQ community, this year is black people, because these are buzzwords that fit the narrative to his base. It speaks to a base. As you can see, there was a whole fire that just happened in the city of Miami Gardens. No word from the governor. Property insurance is still up. People are still looking for relief from that. The governor, silent. I mean, let's continue to go down the line. The homelessness that's happening in Miami-Dade County because the rent is too high. There's no response from the governor. So we know for a fact that this has nothing to do with the 22 million people in the state of Florida or the 22% of the black folk who live here. This is a national tone that's being set because they realize if that can happen here in Florida, they can do it in Texas, they can do it in Tennessee, they can do it in Arizona. And that is why this is dangerous on the surface. And it's a tone that the Republicans are setting across the country.
Dr. Gallen, your final thoughts?
I've had the luxury of being a school board member that is nonpartisan, that we are obligated to serve all students from Florida City to County Line Road. It has been somewhat regretful to see how partisan politics has somewhat seeped into the education of our children. When students register for the Miami-Dade County Public Schools, when parents come to the main office, we don't ask them what their party affiliation is. We ask them how can we best meet the needs of their children. So it is regretful that this has seeped into our public educational system, and as anyone has aspirations for a higher office or whatever that is, I don't want to speculate on that, but we all take an oath of office to honor the Constitution of this United States. And the United States represents a democracy that says we are united. We're the United States, that we should be indivisible, and that we should aspire for justice for all.
Dr. Gallen, Senator Chevron Jones, thank you so much for joining me for this important conversation this morning. Appreciate you.
Thank you.